Of course, I'm going to let this dry. It's going to be dried solid before I do anything with it. But I don't know how this is going to affect the fit when I put it into the floor joist. Obviously, I'm putting a small layer on the surface. I'm hoping that it's just small enough that it's meaningless. Hi everyone, welcome back to the tiny house timber frame build. This is Shimoda Life. I'm John, and if you're new, if this is the first video you're dropping into, I'm building a timber frame tiny house here in small town of Shimoda in Japan. I live here with my wife just down the road, and I've got a place, a mountain property about 15 minutes out of town that I'm preparing for a homestead and a house. And I'm going to build my own timber frame house on that plot of land. Right now, I don't have very much timber frame experience, so these videos, the Timber Framing in Japan series, is me learning how to timber frame and building a tiny house while I'm at it. The size of the house is 8 by 12 or 2.4 by 3.6 meters. So it's a very small footprint, so small in fact that I don't need approval to put it on the mountain, even though the mountain is still, as of today, classified as sanrin in Japanese, sanrin, which means mountain forest designation. So anyway, long story, this is my introduction. Welcome. I hope you jump back and see a few of the beginning timber frame videos, but also more than that, I hope you jump back into season 1 and see a lot of the clearing of the mountain videos. I had fun. I worked on it for a year. It was rough. Vines, big dead trees hanging above my head, tunnels of bush. It was really exciting. I really enjoyed it. And it's still very much a work in progress up there. And if you follow the series, if you haven't yet subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, and please follow the series, and you'll see the continuity from raw mountain land to finished homestead. So today the challenge is working on bent number 2. So last video I did bent number 1, which is this one. It's roughly an H-shaped structure with a couple of diagonal supports that sits on top of the floor structure. I hope I've got this in camera. Sits on top of the floor structure, and then the roof structure sits on top of it. And as I said, there are 3 of them in my little house. I finished number 1 last video. Actually, I just finished off a couple of the brace pockets this morning. Didn't film that. But I'm working on bent number 2 today. there's a gap when the bottom of the ruler touches the wall. The mortise, the inside walls of the mortise, are not on the same plane as the outside walls of the beam. So I chose this through mortise because the original joint that the book recommends was just too difficult for me to get my head around. But I'm learning that a through mortise through 6 inches of wood is not easy to make. It's a careful operation, even with, even with a chain mortiser and all the tools that I've got. There's a lot of skill required in doing it properly. So very much a learning experience. Morning everybody, I'm back continuing to work on bent number 2, the middle bent in the tiny house. I've got the posts mostly done, finished most of the mortises yesterday, but I still have the top and the bottom tenons to do right now. Then I've got the tie beam, the horizontal cross member that ties them together, the tie beam to do. It's all marked out, it shouldn't be that difficult. Finally, I've got 6 diagonal braces that I have to finish. They're cut to length already, but I have to put the tenon in them. Anyway, good day to be working, and let's get after it. Perfect. So as you can see, bent number 2 is in place. I don't have the diagonal braces on yet, but it's in place. There's a 1/2 inch housing that has to be cut out. It's a structural additional support. I think for me, good progress today. I've got just a couple of tweaks, but essentially the middle bent, the bent number 2 is done. And I'm really happy that things actually fit together. A couple of things. I successfully tried the glue as an end sealer. Seems to work really good. It dries cleared, can't even see it. Seems to be the right thing to do. So I'm going to continue doing that. Bam Bam, my club. I'm gonna tweak it a little bit and work on the shape just a little bit more, so it doesn't look like such a rough piece of meat.
but really, really works better than the 4x6 that I was using last week. So I'm really pleased with Bam Bam here. So Bam Bam, glue on the ends, and bent number 2 done. It was a successful day. Thanks for hanging around, and I look forward to the next video when we're finishing bent number 3.
I asked my Sawyer, what should I use here in Japan? What should I buy here in Japan? And he immediately said glue. And I didn't understand it when he told it to me, and I think that word sounds familiar. So when I went back and checked it out, yeah, he meant glue. Whereas in the West, you would use, any number of things. In the US, it costs about $40 per gallon. Here, Anchor Seal, that's what it's called. Here, it costs $180 per gallon. So, yeah, no thanks. So, he said glue, and I thought, well, that's just strange. Is that some weird Japanese thing that nobody else actually believes in? So I went on YouTube and I did a search for end sealing, and I got a whole raft of videos about people who gave their opinions. But one guy, he did a really comprehensive comparison of Anchor Seal versus glue versus paint versus stain versus nothing. And the glue came out just as effective as Anchor Seal.